Most people think getting rich is about making more money, so they grind harder, hustle longer, pick up extra shifts, and after years of doing all that, they're still broke. Here's what nobody tells you. There's a number, a specific dollar amount, and once your money crosses it, something changes completely. The rules flip. Suddenly, your money starts doing the heavy lifting, and you barely have to do anything. That number is $300,000. And after this video, you'll understand exactly why. My name's Ricky, and I spend way too much time thinking about how compounding actually works in real life. If you're someone who's been saving for years and still feels like you're going nowhere, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it helps you out. Look, here's something I hear all the time. Someone saves for 3, 4, maybe 5 years straight. They sacrifice, they skip vacations, they cook at home instead of eating out. They do everything right. And then they check their account, and the number barely moved. That feeling is brutal because you did the work, you followed the advice, you were responsible, and it still feels like you're running on a treadmill that won't stop. Here's the thing most people don't say out loud. Saving feels pointless when the results don't show up fast enough. So what happens? People quit. They figure the whole system is broken. They think investing is for people who already have money. And so they stop right before the game was about to change. And I get it, I really do. When you're sitting at $8,000 saved or even $40,000, the math doesn't feel exciting. You're putting in $500 a month and getting maybe $200 back in returns that year. That's not motivation, that's barely a car payment. The frustrating part is, this isn't a discipline problem. It's not a mindset problem either. It's a timing problem. Most people give up during the hardest phase of building wealth, right before compounding kicks in for real. They're like someone who plants a tree, waters it every single day for 2 years, then cuts it down because it's not giving fruit yet. The tree needed one more season, and so does your money. Here's what nobody tells you about compounding. It's not a straight line, it's a hockey stick. Flat for years, then it bends hard. And $300,000 is exactly where that bend happens. Now you might be thinking, okay, but why that number specifically? Because of what happens to the math there. See, compounding works on percentages. It doesn't care about your effort, it doesn't care about your discipline. It only cares about one thing, the size of the base. Small base, small returns. Large base, large returns. And once that base hits a certain size, the returns stop feeling like math and start feeling like something else entirely. Here's what most people don't realize. The reason the early years feel slow isn't because compounding isn't working. It's because you're earning returns on a small number, so the returns stay small. But once the base grows, returns grow with it. Then those returns earn returns, and those earn returns. That's the bend in the hockey stick. And $300,000 is where the stick stops being flat. Let's get into the actual numbers, because this is where it gets really interesting. The historical average return of the S&P 500 is around 10% per year. Any given year, it swings up or down, but over decades, that 10% average has held steady. So let's use it. If you have $10,000 invested, 10% gives you $1,000 that year. At $50,000, that same 10% gives you $5,000. At $100,000, you're looking at $10,000 back. Now watch what happens at $300,000. 10% of $300,000 is $30,000. That's $2,500 every single month just from your money sitting there. You didn't work for it, you didn't hustle for it, the market did its thing, and your account grew by $30,000. Here's the shift that matters most. If you're contributing $1,000 a month to your investments, that's $12,000 a year going in. But at $300,000, your returns that year are $30,000. Your money is now making more than you are putting in. That's the crossing point. That's when everything changes. And here's the part that makes this feel almost unfair. That $30,000 in returns gets added to your base. Now you're starting next year at $330,000. 10% of that is $33,000. The year after that, $363,000, returns of $36,300. You're not just earning on what you saved, you're earning on last year's earnings, and the year before that, and the year before that. The cause and effect relationship completely flips. In the early years, you are the engine. You're pushing the car up the hill with every contribution. After 300K, gravity takes over.
the hill starts pulling the car forward, and your job gets a whole lot easier. Let me show you this through two people. Same age, same income, same starting point. Meet Darius and Priya. Both are 28, both make $65,000 a year, both start investing $800 a month. Darius stays consistent. Every month, $800 goes in. He doesn't touch it, he doesn't panic when the market dips, he doesn't check the account every week waiting for something exciting to happen, he just keeps going. Priya starts the same way, but at year 4, life happens. She stops for 18 months, restarts at a lower amount, stops again when things get stressful. Life is messy. She's not irresponsible, she just doesn't stay consistent. Fast forward to age 45. Darius has around $380,000 saved, using that 10% historical average. Priya has around $160,000. Now here's where it gets really interesting. From age 45 to age 60, with zero additional contributions, just compounding doing its thing, Darius goes from $380,000 to about $1.59 million. Priya goes from $160,000 to about $670,000. Same time period, no extra work from either of them, just the difference in base. But look closer at what actually happened. Darius crossed $300,000 around age 42, which means for the last 3 years before 45, compounding was already bending hard in his favor. The returns were outrunning his contributions. The hockey stick had already turned. Priya never crossed that line. She stayed in the flat zone the whole time. And that gap, $920,000 difference at age 60, wasn't because Darius was smarter or earned more or made brilliant investment decisions. He just stayed in long enough to get past the flat part. That's it. That's the whole thing. Now here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. Most people look at that $920,000 gap and think the solution is to earn more money, get a raise, start a business, find better investments. But Darius didn't out-earn Priya. He outlasted her. Consistency, not income, is what got him to the threshold first. All right, I want to stop here for a second because there's something most financial content completely skips. The $300,000 threshold isn't just a math milestone. It's a psychological one too. And honestly, the psychology might matter more than the math. Here's what most people don't realize. When your returns start beating your contributions, something changes in how you think about money. You stop seeing investing as a sacrifice. You start seeing it as a system. And when it feels like a system, you protect it differently. You make decisions differently. You stop treating your investment account like a backup emergency fund. This is actually huge because before 300K, every market dip feels personal. Every red month feels like a warning. And that emotional reaction is exactly what causes people to sell low and buy high, which is the opposite of building wealth. But after you cross that threshold, a 10% market correction doesn't feel like disaster anymore. It feels like a discount because now you understand what's actually happening. A 10% drop on $300,000 is $30,000 temporarily, but a 10% recovery on $330,000 brings back $33,000. The math works in your favor even during bad times. And when you truly understand that, you stop being afraid of volatility. You start being patient with it. Here's the thing about patience with money. It's not a personality trait. It's a byproduct of understanding. When you know what compounding does at scale, waiting becomes the obvious move. You're not sitting there hoping for the best. You're waiting because you know exactly what's coming on the other side. That shift in mindset from fear to patience is what separates people who build wealth from people who stay stuck in the flat zone forever. Look, the people who build real wealth aren't always the highest earners. They're the ones who stay in the game long enough for the math to work. Time is the actual asset here, not your salary, not your side hustle, not the stock you picked last summer. Time in the market with a growing base is what turns $300,000 into $800,000, into $2 million. The habit of showing up every month, even when it feels pointless, is what gets you to the threshold. And once you're there, the threshold does the rest. Let's keep this simple. 3 things I want you to walk away with today. 1. $300,000 is where your money starts making more than you contribute. At 10%, that's $30,000 a year, $2,500 a month without doing anything extra. That's the crossing point. 2. The early years feel slow because the base is small. That's not a sign it's not working. That's just the flat part of the hockey stick. Don't quit during the flat part. 3. Consistency beats intensity every time. Darius didn't out-earn Priya, he outlasted her. He stayed in long enough to cross the threshold, and the math did the rest. That's really it. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need a huge salary. You need a consistent one and enough patience to get past the part where it doesn't feel like it's working. Because it is working. You just can't see it yet. If this made the math feel a little less overwhelming, that's exactly what I was going for. This stuff isn't complicated. It's just rarely explained in a way that makes people actually want to stick with it. If you got something out of this, subscribe. There's a lot more coming. Drop a question in the comments if something didn't click. I read them. Some of the best video ideas I've had came straight from people like you. Take care of yourself. Keep building. I'll see you in the next one.